denial. Now, if someone asserts that 3 is more than 10, and that to prove it he can turn stones into gold or a stick into a snake, should I believe it?
استاد چیه؟
آشکاره چوبه.
چوب؟ اینم مثل شما گفت چوبه. حالا الان معلوم میشه. ورا ورا ورا. میبینی که چی شد؟ دیدی حالا؟ چی شد؟ یک مار.
What if he actually changes the stick into a snake in front of my very own eyes?
حالا چیه؟
No doubts about what I know are raised in me because of this.
این کلک خوبیه، اما هرچی هست مار نیست.
مار نیست.
The only thing I am left wondering is how he managed to change a stick into a snake.
بابا میریم دنبال کاره.
In our dreams, we are certain that what we see is real. Yet when we awake, we know that what we took to be an unquestionable fact was in fact illusion. So what proof can theology or philosophy give us to guarantee that our senses aren't also deceiving us?
Despite all the knowledge I had acquired, I still couldn't resolve this simple and fundamental problem. A battle was raging between my heart and my head, and I eventually became physically ill. It was a bewildering time. The sickness lasted nearly 2 months, during which time I was, practically speaking, a skeptic, though not in principle or in outward expression.
Ghazali did not begin by forcing doubt upon himself. That is, he began to question himself, now what certitude do I have about this, about this matter, about this religious right, about this moral injunction? And he didn't on purpose strip himself of all certitude in order to get to complete doubt and then see what happens. It wasn't like that. It was that doubt having come into his mind, he began then to question the pseudo-certitudes. He knew that he had to undo himself. He had to reconstitute his being. He had to undergo spiritual transformation. Words would not do. And he had to change his life, his way of thinking. I was willing to sacrifice everything for the sake of certitude.
At length, God healed me. I found myself restored to health and balance. Once more, I was able to accept the necessary truths of the intellect as I regained confidence in their certain and reliable character. This did not come about by systematic demonstration or ordered argument, but by a light that God Most High cast into my breast. That light is the key to the greater part of knowledge.
Ghazali was able and willing to give something up in order to receive illumination. The ordinary soul does not receive illumination. You receive illumination only if you are open your heart to God, which means dying to yourself and dying to the world about you, and that's what Ghazali did.
It was only through divine grace that Ghazali overcame his bout of skepticism, and we too must be open to the possibility of receiving a light of guidance. But with such darkness and confusion confronting us today, is it any wonder that it can be hard to see a way forward? Was the situation any different in Ghazali's lifetime?
At the time of Imam al-Ghazali, authority was being questioned. Who has ultimate authority? The religious people did not recognize the secular authority, and these religious fanatics begin to kill those who they deem as obstacles in their path to achieving some type of religious sovereignty. In his time, confusion was reigning. Confusion was everywhere. And I think most of us would agree in the modern world that we are living in very confusing times, difficult times, times that everything is being questioned, and nobody really can see a clear light. And I think that he was in these times, and that's why he's so extraordinary.
The political situation in Ghazali's time was in many ways fragile, certainly very complicated. There was a caliph in Baghdad who was a titular ruler of the Sunni Islamic world. Real political power is in the hands of the Seljuks, viziers, of whom Nizam al-Mulk was probably the best known example. And it fell to the Seljuks to try and figure out what sort of Islam the state should be patronizing.
آن کس که کلمه لا اله الا الله و عیسی رسول الله را از نصرانی میشنود و آن را چون گوینده یا نصرانی است باور نمی‌دارد و رد می‌کند کوتاه نظر است. اما خطر رد خطری است بسیار بزرگ که از ناحیه کمخردان برمی‌خیزد. اینان چنین می‌پندارند که چون کلمات حق در کتب فلاسفه نوشته شده و با کلام آنان درآمیخته شایسته رد و سزاوار طرد است. سخنان ایشان را هرچه و از هر که بشنوند چون سابقه معرفت حق در ایشان نیست رد می کنند و با این پندار همه آن سخنان را به خرد نارسای خیش خطا و باطل می انگارند.
آن کس که نبوت را نپذیرد یقینا کافر است.
حق با ایشان است.
هر کس اصول دین را نپذیرد کافر است.
اگر به این اعتبار کافر است مخالفت با گفته های حق او که به واقع هم حق است روا نخواهد بود.
یعنی دانش شما به حدی رسیده است که روی حرف علما حرف میزنید؟
Ghazali repeatedly makes the point that one of the main veils that keeps people from seeing God is religious fanaticism. He says it doesn't matter too much which school of Islamic law you follow. There are different theological positions that it's valid to adopt. Try and be orthodox. In fact, it's necessary to be orthodox, but whatever you do, don't turn into some kind of zealot so that religion just becomes a way of feeling that you're better than everybody else and thereby veils you from God.
مسلمان نادان خطرناکتر از کافر است. رویه نابخردان است که حق را به اشخاص میشناسند نه اشخاص را به حق.
Many have seen Nizam al-Mulk as a kind of Machiavellian figure, patronizing certain forms of religion that he saw as being politically expedient. Certainly his politician's eye seems to have spotted in Ghazali an individual whose program could bring stability and unity to what was at the time a very fractured Islamic social and intellectual reality.
I was invited to present myself to the Vizier Nizam al-Mulk, the powerful chief minister of the Seljuk Sultan Malik Shah. There I joined his retinue of legal experts and theologians.
اشعار شما بسیار زیبا و محض بود. ابو حامد محمد عالم جوان خوش آمدید.
سلام علیکم.
سلام علیکم.
Nizam al-Mulk recognizes in him the man who has the power, in a sense, not only to give legitimacy to the Islamic tradition as a cohesive tradition that is universal and not as a sectarianism that will splinter into many, many different groups. He gives the basis for accepting state authority, not as some kind of usage of religion as an opiate, but as a recognition that this is in the overriding benefit of the citizens themselves, that anarchy is a wretched way to live.
از تفکر، علم و تقوای شما بسیار میگفتند و من باور نداشتم تا خودم به چشم دیدم و بحث‌های قوی و زیبای شما را شنیدم و یقین حاصل کردم. ابو حامد محمد، من تفکر باز، قدرت بیان و استدلال محکم شما را تحسین میکنم.
سپاسگزارم قربان.
علاقمندم اندیشه های شما در فضای بازتری منتشر شود.
این نهایت لطف شماست.
در فکر بودم و امروز مصمم هستم تا شما را به عنوان مدرس نظامیه بغداد انتخاب و منصوب کنم تا به دانشپژوهان و تشنگان دانستن تفکر و درس وحدت بیاموزید.
این باعث بسی خوشحالی من است قربان. امیدوارم که بتوانم از عهده‌اش برآیم.
مطمئن هستم که از عهده برخواهید آمد.
متشکرم قربان، سپاسگزارم.
علیه السلام این است که باید اشجع ناس باشند. خوب این نکته رو دقت کنید، این نکته اعتقادیه. شما همتون بگید امام باید اشجع ناس باشه، یعنی هیچ کس شجاع‌تر از اون در زمان خودش نباشه.
Theology was the rock and roll of the age, and Ghazali was a superstar, attracting hundreds of students who flocked to hear him expound on theology and jurisprudence. He himself said that a man who is being pursued by a ferocious lion doesn't mind whether it's a stranger or a famous individual who saves him. So why do people seek knowledge from celebrities? And what happens when the celebrity starts to believe his own publicity?
There is a lot of evidence to suggest that Ghazali's extraordinarily stellar performance in the universities of his day went somewhat to his head. There he was, preaching from the pulpits of the most distinguished, venerated mosques in the Islamic world, with all of the great texts of Hellenic and Islamic civilization at his fingertips, producing books that were already amongst the intelligentsia bestsellers and clearly changing the trajectory of Islamic thought, with hundreds and hundreds of the best students anywhere in the Islamic world travelling thousands of miles to sit at his feet.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام والصلاة على سيدنا ونبينا خاتم النبيين وسيد المرسلين محمد.
All the things which I knew were the teachings of God could now be revealed in true form to the students, hungry for guidance.
بار کن این دخمه طراران است، بار کن گر همه برپست و اگر باران است. کل خودگیر به خیل و رمه برمیگردیم، بار کن جان برادر همه برمیگردیم.
He was in effect accusing the established leadership of the Islamic world of the day of a kind of false consciousness, upholding in these marvelous, very well-funded public debates in front of the Sultan, or whether it be thundering from the pulpits or in retreats, of a kind of hypocrisy, that they were not practicing what they preached, that for all of their intellectual brilliance, their hearts were, as he says, dark and ruinous. And he saw that as being a fundamental challenge and a threat to the integrity of Islam. He saw it as having dangerous political consequences. He saw it as having consequences for the credibility of mainstream Orthodox Islam as opposed to esoteric or sectarian alternatives. And he also saw it in himself, because he was pointing the finger first and foremost at himself And of course his great crisis is precisely about his